This episode is brought to you by Emerald Valley Golf Course. Located just south of Eugene along the coast fork of the Willamette River, Emerald Valley is one of the premier championship public golf courses in the Willamette Valley. Emerald Valley is also the proud home of the men's and women's Oregon Ducks golf teams, where the Peter and Jan Jacobson Oregon Golf Teaching Facility is located. I've personally toured the facility, and I have to say it has got to be one of the nicest golf buildings in the nation. Listeners of this podcast will know that Emerald Valley is my home for golf and my absolute favorite place to play. Book your tee time now at emeraldvalleygolf.com. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the newest episode of the Going Long podcast. I'm your host, Zach Neel. Like we teased last week, we've got Kenjon Barner, former Oregon Ducks legend, newest member of the Oregon Ducks Hall of Fame. He's on the show today with me and my co-host, Jonathan Stewart. There were a few things that we could talk about, nothing so pressing that it needs to delay our conversation with Kenjon. We had a lot of fun with Kenjon talking about his induction to the Oregon Hall of Fame, his time at the Oregon Spring Game, calling some plays as an honorary coach down on the sideline, and then just his general feeling for Dan Lanning, this team, their outlook in 2024. Got some really good stuff. We also had a really good conversation I shouldn't say we had a really good conversation. Kenjon and Jay Stu had a really good conversation about Chip Kelly, some of the I guess backlash you would say that came out over the past week about some of his former Eagle players who reacted to, I guess, some of the ways that he coached them in Philadelphia. They had a really good conversation about that. So without further ado, we want to get to that interview. Here is Jay Stu, myself, and Kenjon Barner. Before we get to that interview, I just got to say, Jay Stu, I've been wearing this melon hat for a week now. I am absolutely loving these hats. What do you think about them?
Oh man, I love it. This one looks really good on you. I love the blue.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm liking this one.
Yeah, I love these hats, man. They're comfortable. I don't have mine right now. I'm actually kind of jealous that you're wearing yours. But I could be a lot more comfortable in it with these headphones on my head. But they have different styles of hats. They fit different, shaped heads like yours and my big melon. And just different styles. You got the snapbacks, you got the rope hats, the dad hats. Since we're both dads, we, should definitely rock those probably for the weekend with our, dad shoes and socks. They've got them all.
Things.
Yeah, doing dad things like taking the trash out on the lawn, going golfing.
Yeah, the number one thing is definitely going golfing. Like I said earlier on the podcast, I mean, it's hot out in Eugene right now, and I've been playing a lot of golf, so doing a lot of sweating. And what's super nice about these hats is they're durable, built to last 5 times longer than any other hat. They've got antimicrobial properties, so sweat does not break down the fabric, and they're not super smelly. What I love about them, they're also waterproof, so we can wash them as many times as you want. They're going to come back into form just like you had them before you threw them in the wash.
I'm really glad that you explained what microbial.
Antimicrobial, yeah.
I'm glad you explained that for our viewers because it's very important. It's a very important detail, about these hats that a lot of these hats don't have.
I guarantee you do not want to miss out on this opportunity. Go over to melon.com/Oregon and use code Oregon to receive 30% off of your purchase. Again, that's melin.com/Oregon. Use promo code Oregon to receive 30% off of your purchase. The code expires in 30 days. Trust us, you're not going to want to miss out on this deal. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm absolutely thrilled to bring on the newest member of the Oregon Ducks Hall of Fame, Kenjon Barner. Welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Glad to be here. Appreciate you for having me. And I'm doing fantastic on this fine Tuesday morning.
Absolutely, brother. I hear you. What's the weather like over there, man?
Beautiful, sunny, sunshine and blue sky. It's about good 75 degrees out here in California.
Okay. What about you, Zach?
We're getting into the season up in Eugene where every time you ask me for the next however many months, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, it's blue skies and sunny. It's golfing weather. That's what it is.
Yeah, golf is life. I hear that. It's raining and pouring here.
Oh no.
It's raining and pouring and muggy. You
I
know that
love it.
Kenyon, you remember that weather here in
Absolutely.
Carolina when it's supposed to be hot, but for whatever reason it decided to
It's
rain.
just not doing it for you.
So you better make sure you're not wearing you know some some underwear that is uncomfortable because you're gonna be very hot and muggy.
A little sweaty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Right from the jump, Kenyon, I want to start here. A couple of months ago, we had Jeff Schwartz on the podcast, and he gave us this incredible story about Jay Stu and how Jay Stu is apparently allergic to shellfish. And on
Mhm,
their
mhm.
first rookie plane trip, Jay Stu decided to eat some sort of shrimp cocktail and swelled up
Uh-huh.
like a balloon. So I'm
Yeah.
curious, what is there about my co-host that me and the listeners do not know that you can tell us?
Well, right off the bat, I'm gonna tell you right now, Jay Stu is one of the greatest teachers you will ever come across.
Oh
So
yeah.
my rookie year, your guy was struggling with key protection. We
Yeah,
were at
explain to them what key protection is.
oh, you about to make me die back. So it is a
I mean,
6-man
there we
protection.
go. There we go.
6-man protection, okay, where the line is responsible for the 4 down linemen and the mic, right? Okay, now it varies once you get into odd fronts and all that different stuff. It's different thing that goes along with it. So I was struggling with it. For whatever reason, it just wasn't registering to me. So when Stu was my guy. Stu took me up under his wing. I won't tell you how the very first time that I seen Stu
Go
in
ahead, tell them.
Carolina.
It's okay.
Oh, I can tell him. So let's get into it. We'll get back to this story. So I got drafted. That was in April of 2013. I had rookie mini camp probably like 2 weeks later or a week later, whenever it was. However, we go out. It was me and my rookies. I think I was with Melvin and I'm drawing a blank. Robert Lester.
Mm-hmm.
And I see Stu out, and Stu's like, come with me. Come over here. I went with Stu, and we were in. I might have was it Bubble?
You sweet.
Either way, okay. The club is not
Uh,
important.
yeah, just call it the epicenter.
The epicenter. Stu, when I say force me, Stu made me take about no lies 7, 8 shots back to back to back to back to back. Just I'm like Stu, I have I got practice early in the morning. I can't do this. He grabbed my phone and set about 13 alarms and said, "You better get your butt up." So that was my first interaction with Stu in Carolina. Um, I don't know how I made it to practice. I really don't. I don't know how I made it through the day. After I know when we got done, I went home and slept for about 5, 6 hours. But anyway, getting back to Stu being a teacher. So I'm struggling to pick up. I guess you're a teacher in many ways, actually.
Yeah, man, I'm teaching you lessons, baby. Like, hey, look, tap the liver, get used to it,
Yeah,
get it out your system,
yeah,
move on,
yeah, yeah. I learned a lot. So we get back. We I'm struggling to pick up this blitz pickup protection, and so we're going out to this spot called Stash House, Grace Place. Um, we're there, and Stu's like, "You need help?" I said, "Yeah." I was like, "It's just not coming to me." He said, "Okay, I'm gonna teach you right now." Now, mind you, we're in the middle of a club, loud music, drink, hookah, everything you could think. It's we're in the middle. We're in the middle of it. Stu tells everybody in our section, "Give me your drinks." What? Like everybody look. He said, "Everybody put your drinks on this table and don't touch them." We had enough drinks on that table for an offense and a defense. Stu put up an odd front out of tall glasses, shot glasses.
Yeah,
It made a 3-4 front and taught me key protection in the middle of a club with music and everything going on. And I actually got it. He
yeah,
taught
man.
me better than what my coach, and I picked it up and I never struggled with it after that. But would not let anybody touch their drink. Don't touch
Yeah.
it. Don't touch it.
See,
So
man,
that's
sometimes you just got to be hands on. You know what I'm saying? And that's a prime example of sometimes we learn things in the classroom and it just don't transfer.
it just don't
Seeing
transfer.
somebody write things on the board, seeing it on paper, going out on the field and being told what to look at, it's just different. But from a bird's eye view, on some glasses on a table, you know,
Got it done. Look, I can tell you, Stu. Do you remember us carrying people around on our shoulders.
Yeah, that was called weightlifting.
Uh-huh.
Still, getting your workout in the midst of all the fun. So, yeah, man, we had a great time though.
We had a
Kenyon, when
great
he
time.
when Kenyon came to Carolina, it was in a season of my life where I was just excited to be around guys you know that I was just growing up with, basically. You know what I'm saying? I basically treated Kenyon as my little bro, but even though he was my little bro, he's wise beyond his ears because I learned a lot of things from Kenyon as well during his time there. Our friendship continued to grow as he, went and won multiple Super Bowls and been able to watch him from afar and just been so proud of you, bro. So glad that you're able to come on this podcast with us. We're gonna jump into it,
Let
and
me let me interject real quick.
yeah.
Jay Stu, we've talked before, like you just mentioned. I know that Kenyon has the Super Bowl rings on you, but did you ever let him know that you had the Oregon Hall of Fame spot and he did not? And how has that changed since Kenyon got into the Oregon Hall of Fame?
Every year he's won a Super Bowl. I like, to be honest, like I don't really carry like hate. Like it's like I don't carry hate for any of my guys or anybody's success. But I did let him know, like, God dang. Let me have one of them rings, bro.
He said that multiple times.
Hey man, this is your
Multiple
second
times.
one. Let me hold the next one. But
Hey, multiple times.
and as far as the Hall of Fame, man, I never really hung that over anybody's head. Like, to be
Mm-mm.
honest, when I got inducted into the Hall of Fame, I was still playing and I was in New York.
Love
And
it.
so when I got inducted, the ceremony and all that, you remember Cecil Daniels, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
He
Shout out
went,
to Cecil.
yeah, he went out there for to receive it on my behalf. So my experience with the Hall of Fame, like, I was honored, and I actually was kind of upset that I wasn't there to be a part of it, especially since I wasn't playing. Because that was the year Saquon Barkley came in, and I actually had the season-ending injury on my
Mm.
foot, so I was just back there rehabbing, basically. Um, so I didn't get a
Wait,
chance to.
they didn't let you go?
It was one of them things where I didn't know I was season ending
Uh-huh.
until the season was almost over. You know what I'm saying? Like, one of them
Gotcha.
things where, like, if I can work my way back and it matters, then sure.
Yeah.
But once it didn't matter,
I mean, can we be honest here? You were playing for the Giants.
yeah, man, there was no fight. There was no fight. There was no fighting chance in hell. But I'll tell you this, Saquon, that boy is a
Yo,
beast. But
he's
anyways,
different.
going back to this Hall of Fame though, I did not rub it in. But congratulations to you, bro, because I remember seeing you 2012. You was playing USC. Yes, USC,
Mhm.
and you rushed
Record
for
game.
like 300 yards or something like that, didn't you? It was at 300.
324, wasn't it?
Something like
324, I think.
321 and 5 touchdowns. I don't know
Yeah.
the exact number.
Still holds the single game record for yardage and touchdowns from
But
running
I
back at
remember
Oregon.
watching. I remember watching that game and thinking to myself, "Oh, this brother right here is fast." And you want to know something that's really annoying? Kenyon is talented.
Uh-huh.
He is a good singer, great speaker, has a lot of wisdom in his head from his pops and his moms. He's a lover. Like, people really, like, you know, love this guy for more than just who he is on the field, but off the field. But this man can sing and he can act. Like, he just one of them guys that just you can play cornhole too, pretty good, huh?
I'm pretty good at cornhole.
Yeah, he was just one of those
Shocker.
guys that just has the knack for just, oh, this is a ball, this is the hoop. Oh, he can play basketball too, and jump out of the gym. Um, but just one of those guys that's just very annoying to just be around, but good to be around. If you
In all
know.
seriousness, Kenyon, what was that like? What was that call like, getting the news that you were getting inducted to the Oregon Hall of Fame? How's that kind of experience been like for you?
Oh man, it was a call that I was never expecting. If I'm being honest, I never really gave that any thought. That wasn't a thought in mind of I want to make the Oregon Hall of Fame. It just it never came to mind for whatever reason. I told a couple of my friends, I was like, why wouldn't you think that? I said, because I didn't play the game to gain that for an accolade like that to come. I played the game because I loved it. You know, there was no other reason. It wasn't for the award. It was just I loved playing the game. I enjoyed it. And when you're young, you're not really thinking about that. That's not, you know, for whatever reason, you're just not thinking about it. And so when I got the call, I was actually on the freeway driving and I seen Rob's number pop up on my phone. I'm like, why is the AD calling me? What did I do? I'm like, what's going on? And so I answered the phone, man. And when he said it, it was immediate tears. You know, obviously I seen my guy Lamike make it the previous year. And so, you know, being happy for him and all that he accomplished and beyond deserving of it, you know, the thought came into mind, I wonder, maybe, could be. I don't know, whatever, I let it go. But when I got that call, man, I broke down. I cried like a baby. And it wasn't just for me. It was the fact that everything that my mother, everything that my father, everything that my sister, everything that they financially sacrificed for me to be in the space that I was in at Oregon and thereafter, everything that Bobby Pleasant and these different guys that came into my life that helped me get to that point, it was more for them. It was that everything that they did for me wasn't done in vain. You know, that's it, you see the success on the field, the numbers, whatever, but that is like the ultimate validation of what we did was worth it. And so it wasn't. I cried because I'm about to get emotional now. Just I know what my family did for me to get to that place. I know everything that they did for me to make sure that I was happy and everything my family did for me to maintain and to know that they were there, they did, and if they could, they would. My dad never missed a game. So, and as you know, when you're a child, you don't understand finances like that. I didn't know the debt that my parents were, you know, occurring during that time. But when we played in Tennessee, my dad was there. We played in Texas. My dad never missed a game in college, home or away. And so it was just the ultimate validation for those that helped me get to that place of what you guys did for me wasn't done in vain. So it still now, even in this moment, like I said, emotions arise from it, but it's, it's an undescribable feeling. It's something that I'm humbled by, something that I'm grateful for. And it's something that I'll be able to share with my family, my kids, and everybody else out from here on after.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Appreciate you sharing that. Like,
You know,
it reminds me basically, you know, as an athlete, you know, especially ones that achieve so much, you know, in their sport, right? Cover so much ground. There's one common thing that basically like stems to every single successful athlete. We basically go to practice, we suit up on game day, and we perform in a way that is inspiring to others for one common thing. This is for our families.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And vice versa. It's the mutual, it's almost like a mutual respect, you know, when it's all said and done, you know, because I remember the moment I actually hung up my cleats, you know, it was like an overwhelming sense of sacrifice that, yeah, I put on the table, but the sacrifices of those that have helped me get to where I am. You know what I'm saying? And that overwhelming feeling is, you know, a feeling of gratitude and just an overwhelming sense of like how, you know.
it's you really a lot of you know we have this thing in our society, oh, I'm self-made. Nothing about us getting to the place that we eventually got to and the places that we left was about us. I say this, I'm not a rose that grew from the concrete. I'm the rose that grew from a loving village. I'm a
Mm,
rose that grew from a community of people pouring into me, sacrificing and helping me achieve my goals and dreams, then putting their goals and dreams aside so that I can live. So to what Stu was saying, it's a 1010% correct. It's about family. It's about the people, the shoulders that we stood on to get to where we are and where we got to.
So similar to that too with the call for the Hall of Fame, but what was it kind of like getting the call to be the honorary coach at Oregon spring game, and how was that experience for you going on the sidelines in Autzen once again and going up against Troy Dye? And I don't know how many plays you called, if you got to call any series or what that was like, but what was that
Yeah.
experience like for you?
It was dope, man. It was exciting because that was my first time actually being in that mode of being in a coach. Okay, let me look at the script. Okay, what's the down and distance?
Coach Barner.
Okay, you know what I'm. And so it was the first time actually being in the mode of. To me, I looked at it. Okay, I'm out here playing PS5. Let me dial something up. So it was dope. It was a dope feeling to be able to look at the players, look at the plays, look at my personnel. Okay, I want to get him the ball. I seen what he's been doing all day. It was just a dope experience, man. Just to be back in Alton, in front of that crowd, to be around those college players, the collegiate players. Just to be in that environment is something special, man. It's something special about that place, and it never goes away. The feeling that Alton has, it never goes away. Whether you're in there as a player or an alumni, it never goes away. So it was a dope experience, and it was something that I value for sure.
I forget, were you green team or you white team?
I was green team, the team that won.
So you
Okay.
got the steak and lobster, not the beanies and weenies?
Yeah. We were steak and lobster from the beginning. Before the game, we had a team meeting. You go up there, you talk. I told them, listen, if it ain't about green, I don't know what we're talking about. So
Yeah.
to the yellow team, I apologize. I'm sorry, I'm not sorry, but we about to get this dub.
Right. Yeah, got to create that competition.
Yeah.
What kind of plays were you dialing up though? Were you run heavy or was you pass
Well,
like short
obviously
games?
being a running back, they were expecting me to be run heavy, and I was selling it at home. Y'all know what I am. We
Yeah,
gonna run this ball. So
yeah,
the first play that I called, I think was a pass play that went for like 15 yards. Then I came back with a run play.
yeah.
And then the run
Balance.
play, yeah, you got that. Look, life is about balance, okay?
Hmm.
Life is about balance. You can't put all your eggs in one basket.
Nope.
Um, so I think the run play that I called ended up going the distance. He might have broke for like 40 something yards,
Oh, was that the
scored.
Bryson Cobbins run?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that was like, yeah, 67 yards, something like
Yeah,
that.
he went for me. So yeah, got that in, and then so I went 1 for 2 on my possessions. The next possession, we had some mishaps.
What
We
were the
had we missed,
mishap? Tell me about the mishaps. Was it we was offsides or false start?
just we think we had some penalty. We had a couple penalties, drop balls, put
Mm,
ourselves in the hole.
okay.
Things you can't do if you want to win a football game. You can't dig your own holes. The
Did
defense
you
are going to put you.
were you on the sideline, telling guys, "Hey, pick it up"? Like, what were you telling these guys on the sideline when you was going through these, the second series?
Well, the offense, they were on the field. This was in the middle of the series, so I
Oh,
couldn't
okay.
talk to them. So sometimes you got to figure it out on your own. You got
Yeah.
to you got to fight these wolves. And so we had a play call designed for I believe it was our outside receiver, and had a DB over there that in my opinion was a little bit shaky. So I said, okay, I think it was about second and 15, third and 15. I said we're going deep right here, and we had him. We just didn't get the ball to him. I'm talking about torched him, burnt toast, was
Yeah.
out of there,
So you
but we
saw it.
missed.
So you evaluated the field as an offensive coordinator. You was basically saying, "We're gonna expose this guy because he's looking like
This is who
Banner."
we listen. You're only as strong as your weakest link, and no
Mm,
disrespect to my guy, but when I'm calling against you, I'm attacking your weakest link. And in that particular moment, that was the guy that we needed to attack. We just didn't. We just didn't accomplish the goal.
okay.
So, what are your kind of biggest takeaways from the game? You had a different vantage point from the rest of us. I mean, you saw this team up close. You saw them probably practicing a little bit. You saw them in a game situation. What are some of your biggest takeaways about this iteration, this 2024 iteration of the team?
Well, you got to start at the head first and foremost. You got to start with Dan. And if I was a collegiate player, or if I was a high school player coming out right now for college, Dan is somebody that I would have loved to play for. I would have, and this isn't a sales pitch. This is me speaking from my heart. I'm never going to speak on anything that I don't believe. Dan is a man. Now, disregard the coach aspect of it. He's a man that I would want to be up under as a young man growing into a man. He cares about you more than a jersey number. He's going to pour into you, and he's going to put you in the best position that he can for you to be successful. So, starting with him, I think the future for this team, not only this year, but here on after, is extremely bright. I think what he's building, he's not building something microwavable. He's not building something for right now. He's building something to make a long run and a lasting run at these national championships. But speaking to this team, super excited about this team. I think last year, when we watched these guys play, especially for me, I got them watching them up close and personal in the Pac-12 championship, and then game prior to that. When we played Washington in that Pac-12 championship, I believe that game came down to physicality. And I believe offensively, we got out physicaled in that Pac-12 championship. I believe that Washington took it to us a little bit. What I've seen in the way that this team is constructed, I think this is going to be a physical team. I think this is going to be a will breaking, dominant team. And when I look at the offense, start at me being a running back. I'm going to start at the running back position. I think that encourages those five guys up front blocking. And when you look at what they have, and 22, my guy Jay
Jay
Harris.
Harris.
You look at Jordan James. Jay Harris, in my opinion, is a better version of LeGarrette Blount, and
Mm,
that's hard. And that's hard to say. That's very hard to say
yeah,
because he doesn't get the credit that he deserves at Oregon, obviously because of what he went through. But LG was a beast.
yeah,
But
he
when
was
I
a
look,
dog.
he was a monster. But when I look at Jay Harris and what he's able to do at his size, I watched that dude throw a DB to the ground with one arm like he was Derrick Henry. His ability to get in and out of cuts, he's smooth and he's physical. He's going to punish you. And then you go from him, you go to Jordan James, who's an absolute beast of his own. And so when you have two running backs like that, it's exciting for your offensive line. And I think that changes what this team can be. Especially when you have a new quarterback come in. And obviously, TG has the experience coming from Oklahoma. Um, but I believe physically, from an offensive standpoint, this run game is going to dominate this. Is going to dominate this landscape of college football, especially going into the Big Ten. You have to have a run
You
game.
got to be able to run the ball.
You got to be able to run the ball, and I believe that Dan is building this team to be that. Also, outside of that, quarterback play wise, with Dante Moore and I think Novasad. I don't want to say his name wrong if I did.
Austin Novosad, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited about those guys. And like I said, obviously TG has the experience. You know what he is. You know where he's coming from. But I'm excited about the future of this team.
Future, yeah.
Man, it's bright.
Because
I seen
this is the first year, really, if you think about it, that Dan has an opportunity to really go out and get guys that really exemplify what he's trying to bring to this,
and
this program.
he's he's doing it at a high level. This team is constructed to win and to win now and to win for a long time. It's crazy the way this roster is shaped up.
In comparison to, I mean, obviously you can't like go back in time and feel it out, but in comparison to when you were playing for the University of Oregon, what does the size of the guys look like in the sense of like just the defensive line, offensive line? Like, are they bigger? Like what do they
Yes,
look like?
they look like monsters.
Yeah,
If I'm being real with you, it's crazy to be on that sideline and it almost resembles an NFL sideline when you look at the build of these are kids, but they're built like grown men.
right.
You look at Teo, an absolute monster, just stature wise. These dudes are huge. This isn't your Pac-12. Rest in peace to the Pac-12, but this isn't this team is constructed like a SEC team. The way that they're built, um, it's scary. And guys, I mean, we had a couple guys back when I was playing. We had Deion Jordan, who was an anomaly.
Big
Um,
boy.
Big boy, you know what I'm saying? But Dion was tall, but he didn't have. Let me watch what I say
The
here.
stature. The stature.
Yeah, because I was about to say something. It was gonna be crazy. I just caught myself.
Yeah. Pause.
That major. It was gonna be a major pause. But Dion wasn't as thick from a
Oh,
muscular standpoint. No, you see, let me finish what I'm saying. From a
Wait
muscular
a
standpoint,
minute.
Dion wasn't as thick. Look, I was gonna say something worse than that.
I was
Okay.
thinking
But
the same thing you were thinking too. I'm glad you didn't say it.
Yeah.
oh, so yeah, just when you look at these guys, we didn't have anybody really. I
I mean,
mean,
you
Will
had
Tucker,
your DeForest Buckners, your Eric Armsteads, those
people,
guys. Obviously, they've
absolutely,
translated too, but that's the
yeah.
type of mold that you're kind of getting into.
Yeah, but when you look at the team now, the Buckners, the Armsteads, the Will Tuka Waffles, this is a norm on this team.
Yeah.
When you look at the D line and the O line, you get 6'7", 6'8" linemen. We had Mark Asper, and I think Mark Asper was six, maybe 6'8", some
Yeah,
crazy big.
he's big.
But again, he was a one off. This is something when you look up and down this roster, all you see is big, lanky, strong builded young men. So it's
Hmm.
crazy the way that this team is constructed.
I want to get back to some with Dan Lanning. I've talked with Jay Stu about this as well. It's no secret that Dan Lanning has made a point to really try and develop a relationship with past players and keep them in the program. How have you kind of seen that come to fruition since he took over in Eugene, and just what does that mean to you?
Just I've had the opportunity to be around every regime that has come after Chip, whether it was health, whether it was the guy that I won't
Taggart.
mention. I won't. Yeah,
Yeah.
You
The
don't
man
want to
that
mention him?
was
Okay.
here. He was here
yeah.
for a quick minute.
Yeah, treat him like Voldemort, he who must not be named. Taggart, Cristobal, and now Lanning. And the difference is Lanning, he's a people person. Not only is a people person, he is a person who understands the history of a program, and he's a person who welcomes that history and understands how important it is to the future of a program. He opened those doors up. If I was to text Dan right now, Dan's gonna text me right back.
Yep.
If he's not at practice, if he's not in a meeting, if I text Dan Lanning right now, I'm gonna get a text back. If I call him, Dan is gonna answer the phone. When I was out there for the spring game, I was like, "Hey, if you got an opportunity, I just want to come chop with you." Hey, no problem. I'll see you tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
That's who Dan Lanning is. So he welcomes the history of Oregon back into the building. And for me, when I was in school, guys didn't really come around, and I don't, for whatever reason, I don't know if it was the relationship between them and Chip or they just didn't come around. Whatever it was, I don't understand. I don't know. But for me, I would have loved to see Jay Stu come back around. I would have loved to see Ed. I would have loved to see Dennis. I would have loved to see all these other guys that left and went on to be great. That just energizes you as a player. Like, okay, these are the dudes that made it. You know who that is? Bro,
Yeah.
that's, you know what I'm saying? I would have
Gives a whole another sense of culture and winning, right?
a whole
Yeah.
different. I remember when Oregon went to the national championship. I think it was 2015 against Ohio State.
Into 14 season, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm out there, and Ted Ginn's one of my guys. That was one of my OGs in the game that taught me the game. But I'm around him and all these other cats that went to Ohio State, and I'm like, "Where you guys sitting for the game? Where we sitting? We on the field." I'm like, "Oh y'all." Now, mind you, it was like 15 players, 15, 20 players.
Yeah.
So you understand the culture that these other schools have. Been in Atlanta, been around, being up over there around Georgia, being in Carolina with TD, how welcome ex players were. And
Yeah.
that is what Dan Lanning is building here. He wants us around. He's asking us to come around. And when we come around, it's not like, okay, go stand over there and just be something that the guys, because like, hey, no, I would love for you to come in and talk to the guys.
Yeah.
Get in his ear. Go talk to him. Can you talk to him for me? So he welcomes that. So it's a beautiful thing, man. Honestly, it's to feel welcome in a place where you're a part of the history.
Especially if you're a Hall of Famer. You know what I'm
Well, I didn't say
saying?
that. You said that. I
because
didn't.
because it's because it's interesting you say that. Like as far as the culture and what you're trying to build, right? Um, it's a respect thing.
Yeah.
And if you can, if you're a young guy and you get to see the Dennis Dixon, quarterback, on the sideline while you're about to go out and ball out, and he's there watching you. Like
Yeah.
that does something. Like I
Yeah.
remember, when I first got into the league, Stephen Davis, running back for the Panthers, he would come by and he would be on the sideline pregame, and just dapping them up before a game just did something.
It did something different. It did some.
Right? It just
It
gives you like
did.
this like sense of I'm responsible to carry this torch right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and I remember going to the Auburn game, and when we played Auburn in a national championship,
Mhm.
I was like, man, where can we get on the field? And they was like, nah, it's too many people. I'm like, well, I mean, it's just two of us.
But it's not. That's a whole nother comment, and I'll dive into that briefly. I'm tied to Oregon from an organizational standpoint. So I know people that, like I said, I'm tied organizationally, and so to hear sometimes, oh, we're giving them to the donors and to I get it, I understand, but as a player, I don't know the donor. I don't know who that is standing on the sideline.
Right.
But I do know the greats that went here that played my position or went on and were great at. I know that. So again, it goes back to the culture thing that I spoke about earlier. Um, I would have loved to have seen a Jay Stu on the sideline in that Auburn national championship game. I would have loved you. It just does something different to you when you see guys who have done it at a high level and
We
have
probably
went
would
on.
have we probably would have won the game, huh?
It might have been a something.
Yeah, that
It might
donor's
have
not
been
going to make you play
something.
harder.
No,
Hey man,
it
go
really
out there
does.
and hey man, go out there and rush for $150 right quick. All right, I got
Again, going to that Ohio State championship game, when you looked at that Ohio State sideline and you seen all those ex players on the sideline going to the bench, dapping it, the sideline looked completely different from the Oregon sideline. Completely different.
a little
It
intimidating.
was it was wow, look at all that energy over there.
Yeah.
And it wasn't I forget who the coach was at the time. Um,
That was Urban, wasn't it? It was still Urban. Oh, you mean for Oregon or
no,
for Ohio
no,
State?
for Ohio State, was it Urban?
Or was it Tressel? I honestly
It
forgot. I
was one
think
of
it
the
was
two.
Urban.
It
I
was
think it was Urban.
Tressel or Urban. I think it was
One of
Urban.
them.
I want to say, but it was encouraged. Like you look at that sideline, it was a party on that sideline. But that's energizing your team. So it's different. But again, that's what Dan Lanning is building at Oregon. Yeah.
Real quickly before we change topics, have you? I mean, you touched on it a little bit earlier, but how have you handled the death of the Pac-12 and the move to the Big Ten and all of that? Like, what are your general thoughts on that? Jay Stu and I have talked about it a ton over the past several months, but I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that.
So for me, I came in. I'm about to give my age away. I came. I came into the Pac-10.
Yeah.
And so being a part of that, I understand the history of the pack, of the conference. So from that standpoint of it, you hate to see it go. You know what I'm saying? It's legendary. It's one of the originals. But I understand the move. And it's not, a lot of people wanted to make it about schools and money and this, that, and the other. No, that falls on the Pac-12 commissioner. He didn't handle business. If he had handled business, the conference would still be intact right now. But I'm excited about it, in all honesty. With the landscape of college football changing, it was inevitable, I believe. Um, I'm excited because the Pac, honestly, let's keep it 100 on here. The Pac never got the respect that it deserved. And you look at that in the rankings. If we were to lose to whoever, we were dropping 7 to 10
Yeah.
spots. Didn't matter if the game was close or not. Oh, you lost. You're getting dropped. You're getting dropped way, way, way further than what you deserve. When
You
you
can
look at
be a
these other
number
conferences,
8 and you can be a number 8 team losing to a number 7 team.
you're dropping a 16.
Yeah.
And then you look at the
Get your butt
SEC
back.
and the Big Ten, they lose a game, they're dropping 1 or 2 spots. It's the respect level, it's the competition level that they look at. So the Pac never got the respect that these other conferences got. So I'm excited now that Oregon is now a part of a conference to where it's going to be a dogfight every single week. You're going to have to come to play, but the respect is there. The value of games is there. I'm excited about that. You hate to see the pack go. You hate to see it go. But I'm excited about what this does, not only for college football, I'm excited for what it does for Oregon football in general. Now it opens up a completely different landscape for recruiting. Fan base grows in a different way. The country now gets the opportunity to see Oregon on a larger scale. So I'm excited about it.
Well said.
I want to transition here to something that I think the two of you are incredibly qualified to talk about, and I'm going to do my best just to lay out and let you guys talk because I don't think anyone gives a damn what I think about this topic when you two are available. But last week, former Eagles greats Deshaun Jackson and LaShawn McCoy talked on their podcast 2510 about Chip Kelly and their time playing for him in Philadelphia. The short version is that they are not big fans, and they had trouble with his coaching style and just him as a leader in general. You guys both played under Chip, so Jay Stu, I'll start with you and kind of let you take it from here. You had a positive experience under Chip Kelly as your OC briefly, did you not?
Yeah. I was Kelly's first year at Oregon as the offensive coordinator. He came in, and I think I told you the story on here before, but I'll tell you, Kenyon. I think but I'm telling you, viewers. I'm in lunch line, about to get some steaks. Yeah, steaks for lunch. How about that?
Yeah.
But I'm getting some steaks, and the new offensive coordinator comes up, Coach Kelly, and he's basically taps me on the shoulder and says, "Hey, nice to meet you, young man. There's no reason why you're not going to be over a 1,500-yard rusher this year." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And and he said, and then he was like, and he said, "You do with that as you please."
Hmm.
Basically, it was telling me like, if you rush for over 1,500 yards, you're gonna be out of here.
I see it.
And so that was really kind of my relationship with Coach, which was, as an athlete and throughout my career, collegiate and professional, I was basically, if I'm in that building, if I'm on that field, my attention is I'm at work. I'm about this business right now. And that's basically how I went about my college career. I didn't question anything unless it was, Coach Rad having us doing, crazy exercises. I need to understand why. I'm a why guy.
Shout out to Jimmy Radcliffe.
Jimmy Rad have you jumping over cars if you let them. But and so I would, I'm a guy that wants to know why. So as far as everything that I did at the collegiate level, I wasn't really too concerned with the why, because he told me straight out the gate, we about to run this rock. So, and if that was a promise made from him to me, he didn't break that promise.
Yeah.
And so, as far as offensive coordinator and their relationship with the player, dial up the plays and make it go. And he did that, and only had 1 year with him, and it was as an offense coordinator. Now I don't know what he was like as a head coach, because as Kenyon, you've been seeing multiple coaches and their demeanors and what happens when they get certain roles. Offensive coordinator demeanor is different than a quarterback coach. A quarterback coach is way different than a head coach, and so on and so forth. So when I started hearing things about how he was as an NFL coach, my thought process was, yeah, this is different than college. You can't really run NFL like a college coach, because you're dealing with grown men that got kids at the house, they paying taxes, they got food to put on the table. So you can't really just talk to people any kind of way and expect the same outcome. So that was basically kind of my viewpoint, and my relationship with Coach was very brief, and he didn't break the promise, which was, you're going to rush for over 1,500 yards.
Kenyon, what was your time like at with Chip at Oregon, and kind of what were your thoughts, if you want to get into it, when you heard some of the stuff that other players from the NFL are saying about him this past week and his coaching style?
This is I have no problem getting into it. I've had the opportunity of knowing Chip since I was 18 years old. I came into Oregon where he was the OC with Bilotti still being the head coach. But I was on the other side of the ball, so I didn't really interact with him that much my true freshman year. He took over going into my redshirt freshman year as the head coach. And I'll say this, the same man that I met as the head coach of Oregon football was the same man that I played for in the NFL with the Philadelphia Eagles. I know him to be no different. So to me, he was the same guy. To somebody that's just meeting him, he's going to come off different. You don't know the man. I've never the whole narrative of him not liking or dealing with black athletes. Go look at the Oregon roster when we played. Go look at our roster. Go look at our guys. And let me say this. It wasn't no walk in the park for Chip as a head coach with the guys that we had player wise in college neither. We
Yeah.
had we had some guys. We had some guys who were street dudes. We had some guys that came from different upbringings and backgrounds. So it was no walk in the park. He had to deal with different personalities, and obviously, like Jay Stu said, as a collegiate coach and a professional coach, you have to learn to deal with players different. But I've never, for me, felt like Chip didn't like black people or had a problem with black athletes because the way our teams were constructed. Our teams were constructed with real black folk. So the narrative of him not liking black people, I don't buy into that.
Yeah.
I don't believe that. I don't know that to be true, and I would never be in agreement with that being said because I know what that man was for me. To Jay Stu's point of him being a man of his word, when he was leaving, or rumor of him leaving after my junior year, going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, me and him had a sit down, and I said, "Are you leaving?" He said, "Absolutely not." He said, I'm gonna finish this thing out with you. I'm not gonna leave you here. We're gonna get it done." The man stood by his word. He stayed. And to Jay Stu's point, we had conversations and promises, and he held true to every single one of those things. I can never talk about a man or have anything negative to say about a man that cared enough about me from an educational standpoint to come check my classes as himself. Not sending nobody else to do it. The man would call my phone. "Are you in class?" "I'm on my phone. You know I'm not in class." But the man,
Why you want to go into class, Kenyon?
huh?
Heard me, boy. Huh?
Huh?
Honda, Toyota.
Huh? What?
This ain't no
Excuse
Honda
me? No,
commercial. This ain't no Honda commercial.
I'm trying to
Um,
make it one. No, but
no.
to that, I just I won't buy into that.
Yeah.
And I love D-Jack. D-Jack, me and D-Jack always have had a solid relationship. I'm a firm believer. I know this about Chip. Chip is a no nonsense type of guy. And I believe at the NFL level, there needed to be some adjustments made on Chip's part in order to deal with grown men. I feel like at the NFL level, you have to be willing to put up with certain things from certain type of players.
Yeah,
It just
personalities. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm not sure. Chip just wasn't that guy. He wasn't gonna kiss anybody's butt. Chip believed in what he believed in, and Chip is a blue collar coach. Hard work, no days off. That's it, point blank, period. And I believe as people, sometimes we got to look in the mirror because everything that happens to us is not always somebody else's fault.
Right.
Sometimes we have to take a deeper look within ourselves and evaluate. I'll put it this way: in sports, we say this: you can't leave the game in the ref's hands. If I transition that and I correlate that to real life, I can't make decisions and do things that will cause or allow somebody else to make another decision for my career and where I stand.
Mm.
And I'll
Yeah.
say that.
Mhm.
Mic drop.
But I'll say
But
that.
basically, you got two. Like for instance, me and Kenyon, we gonna show up and do our work. We ain't gonna really be like our personality. Like we had a coach Skip for our running back coach.
Shout out to Skip.
Shout out to Coach Skip in
Yeah,
Carolina
baby.
in Carolina. But Coach Skip really taught us how to be professionals.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
time and a place for everything. when the ball is snapped and we are on an offensive drill, we are paying attention to what's going on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Which means we standing right next to Skip and we
Yeah.
watching practice.
Yeah.
And so now you got guys that have different personalities, that talk, to the defense and whatnot. And yeah, the coach is gonna rag on you for, hey, get back over here, whatever it is, stay focused. And you might have guys that challenge that.
Mm-hmm.
And a good coach in that situation at this next level, you learn how to deal with people. Basically, you meet people where they are.
Yeah.
And those are the best coaches, is being able to have the ability to meet people where they are. And
Yeah.
it's way harder to do that at this next level in the NFL than it is at the college level, because college level, you have young men coming from high school basically saying, hey, look, raise me to be a good college athlete.
Yeah.
And I have responsibilities. I need structure. I need a lot of things. So as far as me, paying attention to certain details, I am respecting my elders at this point, right? But things change when you get to the league, because like I said earlier, you got guys that have kids, you got guys that pay taxes, you got guys that have had these accolades, and you really can't tell them too much, right?
Adding to that as well, you got guys that are making more than the coach.
Right. So as far as like, communication and how it's being received, it's a little bit different. And I do believe that, certain coaches, are better in in different situations, and collegiate and pro is just it's not the easiest transition for a lot of
No.
people. And I think, going to Philly with those certain personalities on that team, that's definitely just probably not the right mix at the end of the day.
I'm gonna
And
tell you firsthand, it's not. I'll
yeah.
tell you, I was there. It's
Hmm.
not.
Yeah.
Um, like we said, you have to learn how to deal with certain people, meet them. You got to meet people where they're at. You have to understand personalities, but at the same time, if I'm a coach and I feel like someone is a detriment to my team, I have to make a decision.
Hmm.
People may not like it, you may not agree with it. Um, if I feel like I can't be the coach that I need to be, if I feel like someone's standing in the way of me being the head coach of this team, or it not allowing me to get my message, or is it going against my message,
Right.
I gotta do what I gotta do. This is business. At
Right.
the end of the day, I don't. Let's get this understood. Just because this is a sport world, this is still business. It's still a job. Let's get that understood. If you go on a regular 9 to 5, you're not going in there talking crazy to your boss.
Nope.
You're not going in there trying to control it, because guess what? You're not going to have a job. He's going to find somebody else to do it. That this is I came up different.
And
I
especially too, when you're a coach that's coming in after a Hall of Fame coach in Andy Reid, and you're
it's
basically trying to
hard.
take reins of a new organization. If you are trying to be aligned in a certain way, which is, hey, look, everybody, I'm the coach and we're going this way. You
Yeah,
got some guys on the team that's like, nah, I'm pissed off still about the firing of Andy Reid,
yeah,
and I want things to be this way. Because I've been a part of that too with Coach Fox, and then the
mm,
transition of Coach Rivera. Um, a lot of that was, simplified because we drafted Cam Newton that year and made things a lot easier on our head coach. But
yeah,
like, I know for a lot of guys, when you are set in your way, it's hard to be told, hey, look, we're gonna go backwards here and then we'll go forward. It's
yeah,
hard for guys to kind of, pick that up, especially if they're successful and knowing right, and believe things to be a certain way. And so there's going to be a lot of, conflict. And if you can't really understand that and get on the same page, what are you supposed to do, man? Like, if you a head coach, it's a hard decision.
listen. uh, this again goes with life. Um, you got to watch the people that you have around you, because everybody's not for you. Everybody that smiles in your face is not truly for you.
Mm.
Being being there at that particular time, there were people in place that weren't for Chip. There was people that he trusted that weren't for Chip. There were people that he put in leadership roles, leadership positions that weren't for they weren't for him. To Stu, as Stu just said, when you have people that are coming from Andy Reid and are accustomed to a certain way and being treated a certain way and having things done their way, and you have someone come in who's the complete opposite of that, it's hard. It's hard for people to adjust to. But again, just going back to the narrative of what was pushed, um, Chip ain't no racist. Chip don't have a problem with black people. I stand on that. Shout out to Chip.
Yeah, shout
Um,
out Chip. Appreciate you, brother.
appreciate you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
1010%.
You was a guy that just came in and said what you was gonna do, and you did it.
And you did it. And look, let's not act like Chip wasn't winning when he was in Philly. Let's not
Hmm.
let's not we can talk about this Chip. We could really talk about this, but I'm gonna digress.
You know what? Sometimes you wake up and you reflect on your life's choices and how you got to where you are. And I'm just sitting back here listening, like I've made choices that make this my job to where I get to set you two up and just listen for about 10 minutes to listen. You go back and forth and get paid for it. I'm like, man, I made some right
Nice.
choices because this is fun. That was awesome. Thank you guys for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, we're gonna wrap up here shortly. Before we go, Kenyon, I want to get your opinion on the hottest topic in the offseason in Eugene this year. Oregon's new jerseys are set to come out in about a month or so. What are your thoughts when you heard that they're getting some new kits out there?
It's Oregon.
Yeah.
It's Oregon. I'm not surprised. In my time there, we had three different uniforms. We started off with the diamond plates when I came in. Then we went to the wings, and I don't even know what we call what I played in my senior year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's Oregon. It's going to be something crazy. It's going to be something flashy. It's going to be something that's going to set the college landscape on fire. Not only that, but it's going to have people at the NFL level talking about the uniforms. Oregon is a fashion statement of college football. It's the fashion statement of all athletics, period. Nobody does it like Oregon. Nobody comes out. Nobody steps the way Oregon steps when it comes to jerseys and the combinations. And we're the only school that goes against our traditional colors, and we do it in a way that nobody else can.
Yeah.
So
Very true.
I'm excited for what's to come. I'm excited about what they're going to do, and I know it's going to be something. I just hope that they go. Just can we make the numbers smaller, please?
Smaller. Okay.
Yeah. Another thing to add to Kenyon Barner is that he's really good in fashion. He's one of the most well dressed men that I've been around. Always matching. Remember one time you was wearing yellow because you had you was wearing orange. You had like an orange polo because you had that orange car, that Chevy.
I remember the orange car.
Yeah,
We knew that orange car around Eugene. Like, oh, that's
Man,
Kenyon
couldn't
right
do
there.
nothing.
yeah. He had the khaki shorts, orange polo, some forces on, high socks. Had the gold chain. I don't know where you got that gold chain from,
That's not important.
It's that
but
early NIL money.
oh, you had NIL money back then.
Huh?
Dang.
It's
Honda.
that early NIL.
Uh,
Yeah. We were all wondering why Kenyon had the beaver colored car in Eugene. That's why we knew where he was when he was on campus.
Boy, like I
Because
said, I
he
couldn't do
owned the
nothing.
Beavers.
Look, say it again,
He
huh?
owned the Beavers. That's why.
Little, little brothers.
So as far as jerseys though, Jay Stu's favorite, he said, was the all white stormtroopers that they wore against Washington in 2008.
Mhm,
Mine were the white and green apple that they wore in Mariota's year against
mhm,
Arizona in the Pac-12 championship. What are your
mhm.
favorites?
I'm right in line with Stu, but I'm gonna go forward a couple years. The Storm, go to the Storm
The
LA jersey that
USC,
we
yeah,
the Storm LA joints that we wore against SC
Oh
2012.
yeah, that was the
Yeah,
game that you went 325 yards.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But
That's a
just
good answer.
outside of that, the uniform combination from the helmet to the white on white, and then to the cleats that we had on that kind of had that like chameleon feel to them. It was just a dope combo.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, Jay Stu, you got anything else for Kid now before we get out of here?
Nah, man, just appreciate you, taking the time to tap in with us for an hour. Um, and we look forward to having you on throughout the season, brother.
Absolutely. I appreciate y'all for having me. I enjoyed it. If I wasn't feeling good when I came on, Stu, you definitely made your boy feel good. Okay. Compliments left and right.
That's what I'm here for, baby. Man, listen, go
No,
about your
but
day and you attack your day and you just win
listen.
because you're a winner, dog. That's what you do. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Man,
Yeah.
go look up what the color yellow stand for.
I'm
And
gonna go
just take
look it
that
up.
one. Just look it up, man. Just take it. I don't even know what it stands for. Text me about it later. But just find something in your day. Find something
Yeah.
in your day to inspire yourself, man. Because
Yeah, I
that's where
appreciate
true self-esteem comes from. It comes from
it.
self. And if you
Appreciate
got low self-esteem, only person that can change that